Hello. Hello to everyone listening. Hello to everyone watching. Hello to YouTube. Hello to Instagram. Hello to Facebook. Hello to the Barrier Breakers Facebook group. If you guys aren't in this Facebook group, you are missing out on some goodness. You're missing out on community. You're missing out on free resources. So definitely make sure that you are in that Facebook group. Also, as a reminder, tonight I will be doing a prayer for the April LSAT exam. I know that some of you guys are taking the exam this weekend, and if a moment of prayer, of uplift, and encouragement would be helpful to you, definitely make sure that you check in tonight. I'll be live on YouTube. Can't wait to see you there. If you have prayer requests, shoot them over to me. But today we're talking about how do you get started with your law school applications? Like guys, what's the first step? What do? You know you want to apply to law school. You're looking at like this application situation and you're like, I don't know where to get started. So if that's you, don't worry. We are going to talk about how you get started with your law school applications. For those of you who are new, my name is Sydney Montgomery. I'm the CEO of S. Montgomery Admissions Consulting. I specialize in working with first generation and minority law school applicants. I have been doing this for almost 8 years. This is my full-time job. I am really thrilled to just have the opportunity to have a job that allows me to give back to others. I think that's incredibly rare sometimes in the world. We don't always have that ability. And so I am forever grateful for that. I am also a member of the Independent Educational Consultants Association, where I currently serve as the chair of the Graduate School Committee, and I have my certificate from UC Irvine in educational consulting. So I come to you with lots of experience in professional development. Our team also includes former admissions officers and also former assistant directors of admissions for law school. So between us, we have a lot of experience in law school admissions, and we're so happy to be able to do this, to be able to serve you and help you in one of the most pivotal and monumental moments in your life. I am really excited about that. I have some fun announcements coming next month as we begin the application cycle for the 2022-2023 application cycle for those of you looking to start law school in the fall of 2023. As I mentioned, I have a team. We have a really special person joining us mid-May. A little bit more details on that. She happens to be a dynamic, phenomenal woman coming to you. I won't say from which school yet, but she was the former admissions officer at, I'll just say, a top school. It's a top school I might be familiar with, but I won't say yet. I'm really excited for that announcement. I'm also excited because we've been doing some behind the scenes things here, and in June we are actually launching a very exciting tool, a special feature that we can't wait to talk to you about, that's going to help you streamline your brainstorming and your essay structuring abilities, help you create those strong outlines that leads to strong essays. We are really excited about that as well. So you're like, Sydney, why are you so cryptic? You're usually so transparent. I'm, the suspense, the allure, right? But no, we have a lot of details. Just keep watching. We are live, every week. There will be some weeks that we'll have some premiered, pre-recorded videos in parts of May, just because I'm traveling a little bit, but I wanted to continue to give you that goodness. So keep watching, keep listening. If you're not getting our emails, you are not going to be the first one to find out about our exciting news. You can get on our email list in so many different ways, one of which is just downloading our free guide. We have a free essential guide to applying to law school. If you are getting started on this journey, please download it. It's free. It's like 60 pages of free goodness, so you can find that right on our website. And then you'll also be subscribed to our email list, where you will be the first to find out about really exciting events. But today we are talking about how do you get started on your law school application process? What are the first steps? Last week we talked about when do you start the law school application process. And we talked about, what you should do, how you should make a plan for your LSAT exam and your essays, and a month-by-month breakdown of everything that goes into it. But today I want to kind of answer that question. All right, but the essays or the application, like LSAT aside, what do I need to do and how do I get started with the actual application process? So, the first thing that I'm going to say is we're going to talk about brainstorming and what that looks like. And then I'm going to talk to you about, you guessed it, making a plan. You're like, oh my God, I'm so sick of her talking about making a plan. Making a plan. Yes, we're going to make plans. Plans are great. We're going to talk about a timeline for your essays, for submissions. And then the third thing I'm going to talk to you about is how you can get started on some of those other elements that aren't essays that are just as important in your application. So let's first talk about brainstorming. This is not going to be the only video I talk about brainstorming in. I know that the essays are very daunting for many people, and I think one of the reasons they are daunting is because you're like, I don't know what to write. I don't know. Like you have all of this material in your head, and I've worked with over 200 students at this point, and I've heard everything to like I've been journaling for months, right? Or I've been doing all of these things, but what do I do with all this information? Or I don't know, I'm trying to pick the one moment to talk about for my law school application process. I don't really know. So the first thing to do is to remember that you usually have more than one essay for the law school application process. Of course, there's your personal statement, but most students would be very, very well served by also writing a diversity statement. Listen, diversity is broadly defined. It is an experience, a perspective, an identity, a culture, a part of you that maybe someone else doesn't have, that gives you a different perspective. You can be an Anglo-Saxon white male, and I have seen some very beautiful diversity statements come from that. Because we don't judge books by the cover here, right? I have had students talk about maybe the fact that their family is mixed, or they've grown up in a biracial household, even if they aren't themselves biracial, or they've had siblings who are adopted, or maybe they have a certain culture, an Italian heritage, an Irish heritage that's very important to them. Maybe it is that they are an Olympic athlete or a triathlete. I'm clearly not a sports person, you can tell. Maybe it's that you have been playing professionally. You've been playing music at Carnegie Hall, or you've been on tour singing. There are so many unique experiences that people have that I think they just sort of write off, right? Now, there are some schools that have very specific diversity statements, but a lot of schools have very broad definitions of diversity. And I would say if you've been on tour professionally, you probably have a unique way of looking at the world that maybe someone like myself, who does not have quite as a musical talent. I play the piano. I used to teach the piano, but I'm by no means touring. So you probably have a different outlook on the world than I do, right? If you're a professional figure skater, you probably have a different outlook on the world than I do. And I think that's valuable. Law schools want to get to know you. They want to get to know who you are. So I would say you should write one, right? So you have a personal statement and a diversity statement. And for some schools, you may have a YS essay. You may have some other supplemental essays, depending on what schools you're applying to. But first step is understanding that you probably are going to be writing at least 2 essays. It's important. Why? Because I think that starts to take some of the pressure off this feeling of, oh my God, I don't know where to start writing the one essay that's going to make or break my law school applications. So even if you can have that mindset of like, the 2 essays, I get 2 chances to show myself authentically, that can take some of the pressure off, because there's a really high level of stress and anxiety when you think you have to fit your whole life into 2 pages. Okay, maybe 3 pages doesn't exactly make you feel calm, but it is certainly more. I think understanding that first step is understanding also the purpose of a personal statement. There are so many different opinions about what goes into a personal statement. I can only tell you from how we counsel our students here, and from how our students have been successful, right? Almost 80% of our students, 78% of our students have gotten into a T30 school. Over 56% of our students have gotten at least a half tuition scholarship. There are other ways to write a personal statement. I'm going to tell you how we think about personal statements. Your personal statement should be grounded in why you want to go to law school. I think the best personal statements are focused, on a particular area or a particular passion that's driving you to law school. I look at it as your first case, if you will, right? You want to give me the evidence that's going to convince me I aim admissions. I want to be convinced that you actually want to go to law school, that you've thought about this, that it's not on a whim, that you have some sort of idea of what you want to do with your law degree. It absolutely can change. I'm expecting it to change, right? But I like to see that you have some sort of focus. And so I would say that you want to think about, okay, why do I want to go to law school? Just for yourself, right? Step one. Step one in preparing for your law school applications is to do some self work. Figure out why you want to go to law school. I cannot tell you the number of people that I talk to and I start to ask them this question and they give me like 12 areas of law that they want to practice, maybe at the same time, I'm not sure. Or they haven't really drilled down on what it is that they want to do. Law school is not like undergrad, right? Like everyone, like most people go to college, not everyone, but most people, they go to college, you figure out when you get there. Law school is a very large and expensive investment. I think, especially if you are a BIPOC student, it would behoove you to have a little bit more focus. You can change your mind when you get there, but let's have a plan. You know, I'm a planner. So step one is that introspective work. Figure out why you want to go to law school. And if you don't know, but you feel like you want to go to law school, but you really have no idea what you want to do when you're in law school, do some research. Have some informational interviews. You can find the answer, right? Law school itself is not the only place where this answer resides. You can talk to alumni. You can do informational interviews. You can try to shadow. You can really figure out what is the day in the life of a lawyer, of an attorney. It is not what you see on TV at all, right? There's like all these common myths. I did a really great Mythbusters series with the legal access pipeline LEAP by Cindy Lopez, and it was fantastic. And one of the things that came up was, the myth that you have to like arguing to go to law school. And the reality is most lawyers are not litigators. Not even all litigators like arguing, but most lawyers are not litigators. So what you see in TV represents a very small percentage of lawyers in the country. So really take the time to figure out why you want to go to law school. And then once you feel solid about that, you can articulate it in 1 to 2 sentences. I actually am going to ask you to put that on a shelf. And when you are brainstorming for your essays, I want you to brainstorm a wide array of stories, moments. I'm going to say that again, stories and moments. Stories and moments on your best friend. If you've heard nothing else, understand that storytelling is the way to write an impactful personal statement. Write a beautiful story, a few stories, weave them together. Beautiful writing, imaginative, evocative writing that also is persuasive and focused. I mean, that is the recipe of just a beautiful personal statement. And you can all do that. You can all write a beautiful, evocative personal statement that connects with me as a reader, that convinces me that you want to go to law school, that shows me in maybe 3 moments, stories, anecdotes, who you are as a person and why you're so passionate about a certain area and why law school is the next logical step on your journey, right? You can all do that. I believe in you. I really do. And I have seen it, right? There's no one that's like, oh, I'm a terrible writer. You can do it. I promise you. Writing is a skill. It is something you can get better at. You are all capable of it. You are all capable of writing this beautiful personal statement. But in order to do that, you need to brainstorm stories first. And so don't just brainstorm the stories that are about the law, because you will only brainstorm a very small subset of stories. It will be a very boring personal statement. I actually want you to do a large brainstorm. I want you to brainstorm all of the moments that are significant to you in your life. Positive moments, moments of leadership, growth, impact, and maybe some negative moments of adversity and obstacles, right? All of the moments that have shaped you into the person that you are. All of the moments that have pushed you and challenged you, the hard moments, the joyous moments, the moments that are personal and professional. I often find that students leave out these personal stories and they want to know who you are as a person too, right? So it should be a nice mix of personal and professional stories, of accomplishments and strengths, maybe some obstacles or adversities, but I want you to brainstorm all of those moments, because what you will find is that you will be able to connect the dots uh, between stories that might not immediately go together, but actually have some really strong and interesting and nuanced connected themes that then become that beautiful and evocative personal statement, right? And so when you do a large brainstorm, it allows you to see connections in your life that you maybe have not seen before. And that's so important, because you are one person, and we often don't take the time to look back and be like, wow, I didn't realize that that moment was really preparing me for this moment over here. And I wouldn't have been as successful over there without that bump, or without that thing that I just totally forgot about and didn't even think was important. But oh my God, if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't have been over there. Right? We never really take the time to reflect on our life and think about how these moments have shaped, prepared, and moved us in certain directions. And it happened so long ago, you didn't know, you weren't thinking about it. But now that you're in this position, you're like, that was a really pivotal moment, right? Sometimes we experience pivotal moments, but we don't know we're experiencing them while we're experiencing them. And it's only when we look backward at our life that we're able to see, wow, that moment really shaped me and made me who I am today. And from that moment, my life was forever changed. And that's the moment that I need to put in this personal statement as it relates to why this passion area is so important, that I need to go to law school and spend 3 years and a couple $1,000s, right? Tens of thousands of dollars on law school, because I need to become an attorney because of things that were set in motion before I even realized I was setting things in motion, right? You're connecting these dots so that it seems like a thread, but you're really connecting backwards. There's this quote that I'm going to totally butcher that I learned in middle school, which is why I'm totally going to butcher it. It's like Fords lived like, oh my God. See, I just told you I'm going to butcher it. But basically, it says life can only be lived forwards, but only understood backwards, right? And I will find the real quote, because it's probably like way better when you have the real quote. But let me just pull it up because it's going to bother me. I think it's life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards, right? And I think I had a 6th grade English teacher who like actually said the quote to us backwards, which is why I probably can't remember it clearly. But I'm pretty sure the way that he taught it to us was forwards lived be must it, but backwards understood be only can life, right? And he did that purposefully because we were in the 6th grade, and so children have very short attention spans. So if you confuse them, they actually pay attention a little bit longer. They're like, huh, what'd you say? But it's really it's really important, because while you're living your life, you don't always understand how it's shaping up. But when you look backwards at your life, then you understand how you got there. And that's the exercise I want you to try to do with your personal statement brainstorming, is to look backward at your life and understand how you got here. And when you understand that about yourself, and you understand why you want to go to law school, what your passion is, then you can really have a clear look at the stories and the moments in your life and pick out the stories that are going to weave and tell that narrative. What I also love about doing a really large brainstorming session with my students, and we have templates and graphic organizers and all these things, but what I love doing is that the stories that you don't use in your personal statement end up being used in your diversity statement, or in your supplemental essays, or in outside scholarship essays, or fellowship essays, right? So it's not that you need to brainstorm everything, and everything that you brainstorm needs to make it into your personal statement. I started this by saying you're writing more than one essay, and that's why it's important to know that, because that brainstorming session, I want you to brainstorm one time, right? And then once you have that brainstorm, then you can see where they go and what pieces of the puzzle it goes into. I've always said your application is like a puzzle. I say you can be a 50-piece puzzle or an 1,000-piece puzzle. Be an 1,000-piece puzzle. You are a multifaceted and very interesting individual. So, don't just give me the bare bones. Show me who you are. But also every piece that you put together needs to form together, right? You're making one cohesive narrative. So your personal statement, your diversity statement, your resume, your addenda, your transcript, they all form one picture. And hopefully it's a coherent picture so that someone can look at it and be like, oh, I know what it is, right? That's kind of what you want from your application. Hopefully this makes sense. I have a comment. I love this comment. This is really helpful guidance, Sydney. Some applicants struggle with how to write about overcoming obstacles and adversity. One of the best pieces of advice I heard is to write from the scar and not from the wound. This helps shift from focusing less on what happened and more on what lessons were gained from it. That's such good advice. I really love that. Because when you are writing in that place of hurt, it can be really hard to step back and see how it fits into the overall narrative. But when you're writing from the scar, as it was said in the comments, you're kind of writing from the place where you're looking more introspectively at it, more from a place of reflection. So I love that. That was really beautiful. Thank you for adding that. So the second thing I told you guys is I would tell you how to make a plan, right? I've kind of given you some advice about how to start with the brainstorming process. I will continue to make videos about the brainstorming process because it's that important. But I want you to really think about making a plan. So it's April 29th, which basically means it's May. So let's just call it May, right? May, June, July, August, September. Applications open in September. So we are about 4 months from the start of applications actually being open. I say it takes usually about 3 months at least to get all of your application materials together. And I say at least because I've been doing law school admissions consulting for 8 years, and I can tell you that I work with people for more than 3 months. You will be surprised at how long it takes to actually perfect all of your materials, right? And that is because I will say most students write about 4 to 5 drafts of each essay. Now, you're not redoing the essay every time, but you're iterating, you're fixing little sentences, you're fixing transitions, you're fixing things, you're getting it really right. When you don't give yourself enough time to write, you don't give yourself enough time to tweak, which means that you don't get to make sure that that transition is just right, or that story was just right, or that quote was integrated smoothly, right? Those are the little details that you get when you give yourself enough time in the process. So I like to say it takes about 4 to 5 drafts, maybe 4 drafts, let's call it 4, for each of your essays. Okay, you have a personal statement and a diversity statement at a minimum. That's 8 drafts. And now I want you to be really realistic with yourself, super realistic. What does my work schedule look like? Am I also studying for the LSAT exam? Oh, I have a busy work life and I'm studying for the LSAT exam? Do I really think that I can write a draft consistently every single week? Maybe you do. Maybe you're like me and your Asana to-do list is always longer than it needs to be. I carry things over week after week. It just happens. I'm human, right? Okay, so then you give yourself a little bit more time. You're like, well, okay, Dan, I might have some busy weeks. So maybe a draft every single week. My kids, they've got, one of my kids is graduating from 5th grade and, then I have soccer practice and, they got summer camp and, we're going on a 2-week vacation as a family. So there's the summer, right? Okay. So now we see how we get to 12 weeks, 16 weeks, right? Because life happens and my dad always says, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And so we're hoping that we're going to be really efficient and knock this out, but we're going to prepare for the fact that we're going to get sick and our kids are going to need us and we're going to take a vacation. And some weeks we're just not going to be feeling it, just not feeling it. So probably you want to give yourself at least 3 months. If you give yourself 4 months, hey, it's September 1, right? Okay, so when should you start preparing for the law school application process? Now. I like to say you should give yourself at least 1 to 2 weeks of brainstorming also, so you're not even drafting. And then you need to be outlining your essays. And like I said, we're going to have a special, exciting tool coming to you in June. We're actually, we're doing some things back here. So look out for that. But you do want to outline your essays and do that pre-work. Those are also weeks added on to my little drafting calendar. Okay, so let's say you want to start with your personal statement. Okay, so it's almost May 1. Maybe you say, well, I want a first draft of my personal statement. First draft, which means brainstorming and outlining, are done. I want my first draft of the personal statement done May 15th. It's a little aggressive. Let's call it May 15th. All right, so you're watching this today. You're saying, all right, Sydney, I'm going to do the brainstorming. I'm going to brainstorm on my stories. I'm going to pick my stories. I'm going to create an outline. By the way, we do have courses on this. I will talk to you about that. And let's say I'm going to do that by May 15th. Okay, great. First draft done May 15th. Are you going to send it to somebody? Your mom, your dad, your spouse, your teacher, your pre-law advisor, a service, us? Who are you going to send it to? Doesn't matter. Maybe you're just going to send it to yourself. Sure. You read that first draft on May 15th. A week later, it's like May 22nd. We have our second draft. Okay, I'm feeling, okay about it. We're feeling okay. I have some major revisions to do. Usually the first draft's not so great. So we did some major revisions in a week. We turned it around. It's May 22nd. All right, let's do it again, right? All right, I have a little bit more tweaking to do. I sent it to someone else. They were like, your opening. Let's change it. So I'm going to change my opening. All right, now it's May 29th, right? Okay, great. So personal statement just about done. It's top of June. All right. Some of you are taking the June LSAT, so honestly, you're just going to be out for 2 weeks. But let's say it's top of June, your personal statement's just about done. We're going to look at our diversity statement now, right? Okay, going back to the outlining stage. So that's another week. So now we're at let's call it June 5th. Okay, great. And then we are going to start writing our first draft of our diversity statement because we were still tweaking our personal statement a little bit. So now it's June 12th. So maybe you say, okay, I want my personal statement totally done. Like I don't want to look at it anymore by June 12th. Okay. And my diversity statement, maybe we're having a couple of drafts about that. And I want my diversity statement totally done by maybe June 30th, right? Because I'm going to give myself a couple weeks, and this is not accounting for any vacations or sick time or anything. So now your personal statement and your diversity statement are done. It's the top of July. We're in a really good place. Now we're going to make sure that our resume is done. We're going to write in the addenda that we need. That's probably going to take 2 weeks for both of those. So we're about July 15th. How are we feeling? We're feeling pretty good. This is assuming you are not studying or taking the LSAT or taking any breaks. So now we're at July 15th. That's amazing. We have our letters of recommendation. Those are in. You could theoretically be done with all of your essays by the end of July if you aggressively follow that, right? I don't know what your life is like. I kind of walked you through this hypothetical example because I wanted you to start thinking through how you make your own life plan. Now, if I were making my own life plan, I know that I am moving at the end of July. And I know that my sister is graduating from high school, so that whole week is gone. And also we're going to Disney because my sister is graduating from high school, so that whole week is done. So if I were making a plan for my life, I would be skipping some weeks. Skip. But I would have my little planner and I would still put, okay, so this week I'm not working on anything. So next week I'll probably work on that first draft of the personal statement. We're gone those 2 weeks. So then probably the second draft of the personal statement because I'm going to come back from vacation. And, you come back from vacation, it's like the world explodes. So probably not that week. So then, that's how I would do it. So whatever you need to do with your planner, I love planners. I want you to look at your summer, look at any vacations you have planned. Plan for, if you're taking the LSAT, the week leading up to the LSAT, just go ahead and just cross that off. You're not working on your essays. And really figure out when are my essays getting done this summer. If you're feeling like you need an accountability partner, hey, we're right here. I spend a lot of time asking people where things are because I know that I need that even in my own life. I have hired essay coaches for myself for various projects or writing pieces that I'm doing because I tend to put everyone else above my own self. I don't know who can relate. And so I know that I need someone who holds me accountable. Sometimes it's the fact that I paid someone to hold me accountable that keeps me accountable. I'm just being really honest with you guys. It's the money for me. It's like, well, yeah, I paid this person, so I'm going to actually have to spend some time to write. Otherwise, I'm just wasting money. And for me, that's motivating. listen, we are sometimes able to do for others more than we can do for ourselves. So I'm just being honest with you about that, right? So that's the plan. Like, that's how I would go about making a plan. It's really important that you have a plan because these 4 months are going to go really quickly, and before you know it, it will be September. And so I want to make sure that you do have a plan so that you feel confident going into this process, right? And then, like, that third piece is just making sure um, that you feel good, right, about the writing that you're doing, those extra pieces, right? Your resume, your letters of recommendation, your transcripts. Your transcripts, you can, if you're done with school, or if you've been done with school, go ahead and request them now, right? Go ahead, and one of those first steps you should do is make sure that you're signing up for the Credential Assembly Service with LSAC. If you have a fee waiver, or if you feel like you could have a fee waiver because of your income, definitely apply for an LSAC fee waiver. They will waive the Credential Assembly Service fee for you, but otherwise, go ahead and bite that bullet. The Credential Assembly Service is good for 5 years, so you can go ahead and ask for your letters of recommendation from your professors, get your transcripts, start the ball rolling on that, because you don't fully control the timeline there, right? There's always administrative delays, or professors get busy. So you want to give them and your school as much time so that when September 1 rolls around, everything is already in the system and you're not waiting on an external thing. You want to be in control of when you hit submit. So I would say, make sure that you request your transcripts as soon as possible if you're done with school, or make sure that you do it as soon as you're able to, and start that process of asking for letters of recommendation. Again, we have a free essential guide to applying to law school, and there is information in there, not just about your essays, but also about asking for letters of recommendation, because you want to make sure that you get those into the Credential Assembly Service as soon as possible. So we talked about one, brainstorming, right? How to get started with your essays. It's so, so important. We also talked about how to make a plan, right? Like, literally, I kind of role played for you how you could literally make a plan in your planner for your essays. So many people don't. Please do. And then we talked about those other pieces of your application, the letters of recommendation, the transcript, the things that maybe are relying on other people. I did want to let you know we are always continually thinking about how to increase access here. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that we have quick start essay plans. I said then that they were as low as $35. They are now as low as $20 a month, y'all. We went back as a team, and I wanted to make sure that we were providing really an affordable and accessible option. We have several different options here, all the way up through private consulting. We have our law school application boot camps. We only have one more spot left for our May boot camp, and those are more comprehensive guidance if you literally want guidance on the whole process, right? Those are your two best options. But I wanted to make sure that we had an affordable and accessible option for those students that were really just looking for some, essay editing services. And so we did go back and we restructured some things that I'm pretty excited about, right? Even at $20 a month, you'll get access to all of our courses, and our course library is continually being updated. You'll get access to my brainstorming and structuring course that kind of walks you through how to do everything I told you today. When our exciting tech launches in June, you will also get access to that as well. And even for $20 a month, you will get 10% off all of our essay editing services, right? At that next level plan, which is about $50 a month, you will get 20% off of all of our essay editing services. So if you think that you are going to be sending us a lot of essays, or you have a lot of essays that you want edited, that will save you a lot of money, actually. Like, if you like math, there's some good math to be done there. And then at our highest plan, which is $150 a month, not only will you save 20% on essay editing, you'll actually have a quicker 48 business hour turnaround time, and you'll have one call with us, one strategy call with us for 45 minutes every month. So that's pretty excited. We did also revamp just our essay prices, right? It used to be by the hour, and it was good, but I thought we could do better. So now we've dropped it to by the draft, right? And so you'll see that it's $150 for first draft, $100 for every subsequent draft. We do still have discounts on our top tier plans for fee waiver students, of course, and also for first responders, military vets, HBCU students, Kappa Alpha Theta members. We want to honor, of course, the first responders and military veterans for their service as well. So we're always looking to increase access and affordability. Like I said, all of those tiers, even the $20 a month tier, will come with all of our courses on personal statement and diversity statement. We're making more courses, y'all. We're making courses on letters of rec. We're making courses on addenda. Like, listen, as we make them, you will just get them. It'll just come to you. You don't have to pay any more for that. And so I wanted to make sure that you saw those. They're right on our website, smontgomeryconsulting.com/law-school. Or just go to smontgomeryconsulting.com, click law school. You can scroll down to our quick start essay plans. You'll see them there. I'm really excited about this because I think it will help students just have that peace of mind, especially if you're a student that's like, I've done all of this work. I just kind of want someone to look over it. We're happy to. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that I answered any questions before I prayed us out. And there was a question submitted. I don't know how many of you guys remember or know this, but we do take questions for free. You can ask me anything you want. You can submit questions to bit.ly/breakintolawschool. If you go to breakintolawschool.com, you will not only have see all of the other episodes of the podcast and the transcript and show notes, but you actually will also see that we have a free conference June 25th through 26th called Break Into Law School. It has 8 different panels over 2 days. It's completely free. It has panels on admissions, on test prep, on financing your legal education, but also on surviving 1L, on getting a clerkship, on becoming a law school professor, on joining or climbing the corporate ladder, starting your own firm. There's a lot of different career paths that we have there for you. So if you go to Break Into Law School, you'll see that. But you'll also see the place where you can submit questions totally for free. We answer questions live all the time. And so we have a really great question right now. And the question says, hi, I am 22 and I am barely starting college classes for the first time in the fall at community college in California. I know I will be interested in applying to law school eventually. I know it's a long ways away. I don't know much about how law school works. And I was wondering what I should major in as an undergrad if I know that I will be applying to law school. I love this question. You can major in whatever you want, right? You can major in physics. You can major in theater. You can major in politics. I think there's this myth that you have to major in political science or English. Like I said, I did a really great webinar with Mike Spivey at LEAP, the Legal Access Pipeline run by Cindy Lopez. And I really loved what he had to say. Mike is a good friend, and he said, law school admissions is about differentiation, and I could not agree more, right? You do want to show that you are interesting, which you are. Everyone is. But insofar as law school admissions is about differentiation, of course, political science and English are very common. That's not to say that, I was an English major, so I say this, but also English majors are the best. And if you major in English or you tell me you're majoring in English, I will scream for joy because we need more English majors in the world. However, I will say that it's not a very different or unique major. And if I were to see someone with a physics major or other financial engineering, I'd be like, oh, this is interesting. Why are they going to law school? Right? I'm immediately intrigued. And I think that intrigue can help you in the process. Not to say though that if you're not interested in quantum physics, don't major in that just for differentiation, because then your GPA will suffer. So my advice is always major in what makes you happy and what you're going to excel at. Right? Because your GPA is important for law school admissions for sure. So pick something you're passionate about, and probably whatever you're passionate about will lead into why you want to go to law school. If you're super passionate about finance, maybe you are really passionate about corporate law and maybe a startup or financial litigation, right? That could be interesting if you're really interested in science and biotech, and you want to go to law school. Maybe you want to go to law school for IP or patent law, or different things related to the scientific areas that the legal realm intersects with. Um, the law intersects with basically everything. If you are really passionate about being a theater major and you want to go to law school, maybe you want to protect the rights of actors, right? There's really no shortage there. So I would say major in whatever makes you happy, what you're passionate about, what you're going to do well in at school, and then, think through, they're continually becoming building blocks for why you want to go to law school. So hopefully that is helpful. Are there any other questions before I pray us out? Going once, going twice. Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to say thank you for bringing us to this place where we are starting our law school journey. Thank you also for working things out in our life in a way that we don't always know that you're doing. Thank you for the fact that we were just going through things, going through life, living it forward, but you were artfully and masterfully creating a plan so that when we look back, we actually see how all the dots connect. So thank you for that, and I ask that you would help us, that you would bring to mind those connections, that you would give us wisdom and strong memories, and the ability to take that journey and convey it in our essays. I ask that you would help us remember the moments and stories we may have forgotten that are pivotal to our life. I ask that you would illuminate those moments for us so that we can illuminate them for the admissions committee. I ask that you would also show us our passion and our area. Sometimes we're feeling confused. We don't really know what we want to do, or it's a feeling, but we haven't fleshed it out. So I ask that you would be a good resource, that you would send people that we could talk to informationally, gather information, that you would send just clarity on our purpose and our vision and our path. I am asking for clarity. I'm also asking that you would give us confidence to passionately pursue whatever we are interested in, even if it's something different than other people have wanted to pursue. Even if we feel like we are outliers in this journey, that you would give us the confidence to stand on our island and stand in our island calmly, because we know that you have already created the destiny for us. Dear Heavenly Father, I ask a special prayer for all of those taking the Lsac exam this weekend, that you would give them clarity and wisdom and guidance throughout the process of taking their exam, that you would just be with them, be a calm force over their exam, that you would be there to quiet the proctor or whatever technical situation might be happening, that everything would just be smooth. Dear God, as we begin this journey, I ask that you would just fortify us, that you would give us strength, that you know the road ahead better than we know, and we might not know the different obstacles or traps in our way as we continue through this process, but that you would help us dodge them and artfully master them so that we can continue to do the good work that you have put us here to do. I thank you for all of your blessings up to now, and I thank you for the future blessings that we will have. I ask all of this in your son Jesus' name. Amen. Oh, there's one question that came in. If I received my letters of recommendation last year, will they be good for this year? Yes, if they are professor letters and they are in your credential assembly service, they are totally fine. If they are employer letters from last year, sometimes you may want to just think if that could be updated. But professor letters usually do not need to be updated. Everything is good in your credential assembly service for 5 years. So you can totally bank them. Guys, thank you so much for an awesome time with you. I love spending this time with you. Just as a reminder, like I said, we will have a lot of updates in May and in June, so make sure you're on our email list. You can download our free essential guide to law school. Look at our quick start essay plans. We have provided a lot of goodness for you, a lot of accessible goodness for you, and then we only have one more spot left in our May boot camp. So if you're thinking about joining us on this journey, you want comprehensive guidance, definitely look there. I forgot to mention, but I should mention, we are doing 10% off any and all full services through May 8th. So if you're looking at private consulting, if you're looking at the boot camp, we are doing 10% off through May 8th if you pay in full. Just a little way to kickstart the application cycle. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can reach us at hello@smontgomeryconsulting.com. I can't wait to hear from you. I can't wait to see how this journey plays out for you, and I can't wait to be here with you every week as we go through this application process. I will talk to you guys very soon.